Hey babes, it's me, Dr. Tiff. Today we're going to talk about something that some of us, some of you, some of me are absolutely notorious for, and that is turning a simple no into an entire paragraph. You know you don't have time. You know you ain't got no energy. You know you don't even want to do it. But instead of saying, no, I'm not able to do that, you find yourself sending 7 sentences, 3 apologies, 2 explanations. If you have ever written a whole TED Talk just to decline a request you had every right to say no to, by the way, this episode is all yours. So just sit back, honey, because I'm doing this one specifically for you and me, us, okay? Hang tight and enjoy. Hi, I'm Dr. Tiff, your relationship transformation coach. I've spent the past 20 years working with high-achieving women just like you who are crushing it in every area of their lives, everywhere except their relationships. And look, I get it. Finding the one ain't easy, and relationships are hard. But you know what's even harder? Cycling through the bad ones, or worse, staying in relationships when you already know they're not a good fit. You want a relationship of ease, uncomplicated, someone to love you down, but instead you've been suffering through bad dates, sexual incompatibility, and someone who might be good for somebody, but not for you. And if we're really being honest, you know that deep down, the work that really needs to be done starts and ends with you. If you're done wasting time in dead-end relationships and sick of looking for, chasing after, or trying to convince somebody to be the one, and you're ready to become the one, then baby, you're in the right place. So prop your feet and let's clink glasses, because I'm giving you the tea and the tips to fix your relationships. Let's go. Hello. It's me, Dr. Tiff, and we are back for another episode of Fix Your Relationships. Oh my goodness. I am so happy that you're here, that you came back. I feel like maybe I read y'all a little bit too hard last week, but look at you. You came back for more. So I welcome you. If this is your first time, honey, you are in for a treat, because today I want to take you from a paragraph to a period and speak directly to those of us who have had the habit of hating to say the word no and feeling so horrible for doing so. Today's conversation is all about how to say no without feeling guilty and without over explaining. Because for a lot of us, somewhere along the way, our no stopped feeling safe. It stopped feeling like something we could actually say. This did not start yesterday, okay? This oftentimes has started in childhood, maybe in our childhood home, in our early relationships, in our churches, okay? Somebody asks you to do something in church, you always say yes, okay? You can never say no, okay? Or in those friendships where no really isn't an option. Some of us have friends that have been friends for a long period of time. Maybe it's a sorority sister, hello, where you don't feel like you can say no. I'm busy. I'm tired. I can't. And think about this. If you said no as a kid, what happened? Your mouth might have got washed off with soap. You might have got popped, okay? You might have got punished for saying no. If you tried to say no to someone who made advances on you, or to physical touch, or to intimacy, and they just kept pushing or pressuring you, or maybe they just pulled away and pouted and acted like you were wrong for having said no. That is a learned behavior. That is an experience where you're taught something, you learn something about your no. Maybe you were in a situation where you said no to something extra and people called you selfish or ungrateful just because you didn't feel like doing it. Again, this is a learned experience. This taught your body that saying no is not safe. Saying no is dangerous for me. If I'm going to say no, I have to soften it, okay? I have to explain it, even over-explain it. I got to prove that I am still me. I'm still a good person, even though I can't do this thing, okay? That is not a quirk. It is a pattern, and it is a pattern that so many of us have. And you guys that have been in the One Within 30-Day Reset, you already know day one is about identifying your patterns. That is what we do day dot. Because until you see this as a pattern, you will keep blaming it on your personality. Oh, I just have to tell people, give them reasons. I have to, explain just to make sure that they feel good, they feel safe about my answer, instead of recognizing the training that you have. Everything that you've been through has taught you that you need to over-explain your no when really you don't. Because let me tell you this, I brought this especially for you, okay? Matthew 5:37 says, let your yes be yes and your no, no. Let your yes be yes and your no, no. In this passage, Jesus is talking to people who are doing the most to prove their word is bond, okay, that their word is good. They were swearing by heaven. They were swearing by earth. They were swearing by all the things, right? Because their normal yes and no didn't mean much. And Jesus is basically saying, like, you know what? Stop all the extra. You ain't got to do all that. Just say what you mean and mean what you say. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. We do a version of this with our boundaries. We don't trust that our yes can just be yes or that our no can just be no. So we start to pad it, soften it, we perform, we over-explain because we're afraid of their disappointment. We're afraid of the reaction, and we're afraid of their opinion of us. We're afraid of their perception of us, right? But what if a part of your healing journey in this season is learning to let your yes be yes and your no be no without needing a whole essay to justify either one of those? Now, for many of us, there is a reason why we default to paragraphs, why we over-explain. You're not over-explaining for sport, okay, babes? You're not over-explaining because it's fun and you just like to do it. You got lots of words that you want to get out, okay? You over-explain because you have a history of people breaking you down when you say no. You've been on the receiving end of, oh, wow, you know what? I thought you were different. Or this how you gonna treat family? Or maybe it's the, after everything I've done for you, you can't do this one thing for me. Okay. The side comments, the silent treatment, the guilt. And so now you don't trust the people in your life to handle your no. Matter of fact, you don't trust you to hold your own no once they start pushing back. So you try to get ahead of it, right? The over-explaining is you trying to get ahead of it, okay? You're hoping if I give enough context, they won't be mad, okay? If they see how busy I am, if they hear all the things that I have going on, they'll understand why I can't make this event. If I bare my soul, if I just lay it all out on the line, they won't call me selfish. But here's the truth. People who are committed to respecting you don't need a whole dissertation to accept your boundary. And people who are not committed to respecting you, who don't give a damn about respecting you or your boundary, will still complain. They're still going to complain even if you hand them a 10-page syllabus. Over-explaining your no does 3 things. Number 1, it trains people that your no is negotiable. Okay. If every boundary comes with a long story, people start to look for loopholes. Number 2, over-explaining drains your energy. You're not just declining, you're managing their perception, their feelings, and your guilt at the same time. No wonder you're tired at the end of that dissertation. Number 3, over-explaining chips away at your confidence. You start believing, you know what, my no is dangerous. I have to work hard to earn this no. And I am here to tell you, sis, your no is not evil. It's not about you being a bad person. It doesn't make you mean. It's not an attack. It's not the end of the relationship. It doesn't have to be, okay? Your no is simply an indication of your capacity. It's what you can and cannot do in this moment. And I'll tell you this, you have to learn to respect your no first. If you will sidestep your own boundary and don't hold yourself accountable to your no, we can't expect anybody else to be accountable for that and to respect that boundary. That no is as much for you as it is for them. When you honor that no, you honor you. Hey babes, taking a quick break to talk to you about the One Within 30-Day Reset, my one-of-a-kind guided journaling experience. If you are someone who is determined to improve your relationships in 2026, but also want to make sure that you don't neglect yourself in the process, I'd love to see you inside this program. I designed the One Within 30-Day Reset for women just like you, strong, hyper-independent, crushing it at work, living your dreams. But if we're really being honest, things are a little lacking in the love department. You know that there's probably some self-work that you need to do. Maybe you've been putting it off because you're not quite sure where to start. Well, that's where the One Within steps in. If you can spare just 5 to 10 minutes a day, I'll help you identify the patterns and triggers holding you back in your relationships, help you to set better boundaries and end the cycles of self-sabotage and missed red flags. I'll help you embrace the personal growth strategies necessary to stop making the same mistakes over and over again and to start calling in that love we both know you deserve. And remember, this is a guided experience. I'm not just handing out blank sheets of paper and telling you to scribble your hopes and dreams. Each day, I'm providing you with thought-provoking prompts designed to really tap into what's kept you feeling stuck in your relationships. In addition, you're going to get daily video messages from me, get full access to our private community, group coaching calls, bonuses, and so much more. If you're ready to sign up or just need more information, head on over to drtiffanyhenry.com/theonewithin. Now back to the show. All right. Now, y'all know what time it is. Y'all know that I'm going to have you do some writing. Okay. I hope you have your pen and your paper. If you don't, go ahead and get it because I want to bring this conversation that we're having here today into real life. I want you to be able to see yourself and see how this works out and how this shapes in your own life. So if you can, go ahead and grab a pen and paper. If you're driving, just listen along and come back to it later. Okay. Just promise me you're going to come back because we got work to do. All right. Let's do this right now. Question number 1. When I think about saying no, whose reaction am I afraid of? Okay. When I think about saying no, whose reaction am I most afraid of? Is it a parent? Maybe it's your partner or an ex. Maybe it's a friend. Could be a coworker or a boss. Maybe it's somebody at church. Okay. Whose voice plays loudest in your head when you hesitate, when you want to say no and you're just like, oh gosh, write that down. Whose voice is it? All right. Question number 2, where am I currently over-explaining my no because I'm afraid they'll tear my no all to shreds? Okay. Where am I currently over-explaining my no because I am fearful that they are going to tear it down? Okay. Think of a specific situation. Maybe it's that family member who always needs a favor or always needs money. Okay. And you need to say no, but they're just going to keep asking. They're going to keep asking, coming back. They're going to ask in different ways. They're just going to try and tear you down until you say yes. Okay. Maybe it's a situation where you've got a friend who expects you to be available all the time, 24/7, or as Mary says, 25/8. Okay. Maybe you're currently over-explaining to a person who acts offended every time you set a boundary or have a limit. Okay. Write 1 or 2 concrete examples where you're writing paragraphs, saying a dissertation instead of just using periods after your no. Okay. All right. Question number 3. What would a simple, honest no sound like for me if I believed I didn't have to convince anyone that I'm still a good person, that I'm nice, that I'm worthy of their friendship or love? Okay. What would a simple, honest no sound like for me if I believed I didn't have to convince anybody that I'm a good person, even though I said no, that I'm nice, that I'm worthy of love and friendship? If you fully believed I can say no and still be kind, if you believed I can say no and still be loving and loved, I can say no and still be a good woman, a good wife, a good daughter, a good mother, what would your no sound like and how would that feel to you? I imagine it's going to feel really good when you can get it out. Write 1 or 2 sentences, short sentences, your own version of a clean, crisp, smooth no. All right. And as always, I want to give you a shift, something that you can do differently this week to implement what we're talking about here today. I want you to take one boundary that you have, from a paragraph to a period, okay? From a paragraph, a whole bunch of words, to just something really simple cute, sweet, to the point with a period on the end because it is a matter of fact. Okay, just one. All right, pick something small. It could be small, it could be medium, it could be medium. Okay. And not some big trauma situation, but just something small that you know you can handle. You might not want to, but you know you can. It could be like a request that somebody has and you just don't have the energy for it. Maybe it's a quote unquote quick call. Let's hop on a quick call. I love that though. Let's hop on a quick call and discuss ... when you know that call going to be 45 minutes. No, thank you. I got other things to do. An invitation that you don't want to say yes to, okay? But you kind of feel obligated, but you know you really don't want to do it, okay? We're prepping ahead of time because you know it's coming. Your answer is a clean sentence, a crisp. I'm not available for that today, this week, this month. I'm not able to do that. No, that doesn't work for me. That time does not work for me. I don't have the capacity for that right now, okay? And then put a period on the end of it and file it away. That's it. That's all you got to do. Not, I'm not able to do that because, okay, and all the things, the laundry list of things. I just don't have the capacity right now. It's just that this and that and the third, okay? No, that doesn't work for me. But I feel so bad because I really want to. And girl, stop it. And I'll tell you this ahead of time, and you already know it. You're going to feel the urge to complain. Your palms might get sweaty. Your fingers might start itching, might be dying to send a follow-up text and figure it all out, and explain away. When that starts to happen, that's when I need you to talk to yourself. I need you to say, girl, sweetie, darling, babes, sis, I need you to stand up, okay? Stand up for yourself. That's what you're saying to yourself. Girl, okay? Get up. Stand up for yourself. You are allowed to have limits. You are allowed to tell the truth without defending it like you're on trial, okay? One boundary, one sentence, one period, you're done. That is your small shift for the week, okay? Just one sentence and you're done, okay? We're out of here. Okay. If this sounds like something that you have struggled with for a while now, this is exactly the kind of pattern we work through inside the One Within 30-Day Reset, because it's not enough to say, you know what, I'm going to say no for now. I can do it. You know that you need to understand why you've been so afraid of your own no. You need to see where that fear started and slowly start practicing a new way of showing up for yourself. In the One Within 30-Day Reset, we spend 30 straight days identifying patterns like guilty yeses and paragraph long no's. We spend those 30 days connecting those patterns back to your real story, not somebody else's, not theory, but you, and not shaming you for that in the process. And we also are building small, doable shifts like the one that you just created today so that your boundaries start feeling more natural and less scary and less guilt-ridden over time, okay? If everything in you is like, Dr. Tiff, why are you in my thoughts? Why are you reading me for fifth? Yet again, this is 2 weeks in a row. That just means I am talking directly to you and I would love to see you there. Go to drtiffanyhenry.com/theonewithin. The link is also in the show notes, okay? If you don't even want to think about it, if you're driving right now, can't write it down. The link is in the show notes. Go there, find out more information about the One Within 30-Day Reset, and join me for this. You cannot afford to keep putting this off. So, babes, here's what I want you to walk away with today. Your no is not a weapon. It is not a character flaw. Your no is your truth about what you can and cannot do. You are allowed to let your yes be your yes and your no be your no without a monologue, without a PowerPoint, without writing a closing argument, okay? If you're ready to really unpack this and stop apologizing for having limits and setting boundaries, you can join me inside the One Within 30-Day Reset. All the details, again, are at drtiffanyhenry.com/theonewithin. Babes, you are worthy of boundaries. You are worthy of rest. And you are still good, still perfect, still beautifully and wonderfully made, still kind, still important, okay? Still lovable, even when you say no. You gotta remember that, okay? All right. This has been a great episode of Fix Your Relationships. I'm so glad you guys hung out with me. Y'all thugged it out. And I hope that this episode encourages you to set better boundaries, to let your yes be your yes and your no be your no, period. Okay? All right, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Ciao. Hey, babe, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. My goal with this podcast is to bless you with information that helps you fix those relationships that are most important to you, but not before you do the self-work needed to make sure that those relationships thrive. If this episode was exactly what you needed, then guess what? Somebody else probably needs it too. So do me and them a favor. Please share this episode with your good girlfriend and let her know about the podcast. And while you're at it, hop on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. This really helps to grow the podcast and puts it right in front of other women who are desperate to work on their relationships and themselves. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to join our community of like-minded women all on a journey to become the one. You can sign up for free at becometheone.myflowdesk.com/email. I know that's a lot, so just go on over to the show notes and click that link there. Thanks again for listening to Fix Your Relationships with Dr. Tiff. I'll see you right back here next week.